So this is my project I worked on the last month, and there's a little history behind this box. I'm going to tell you. I received a load of paper from Germany. Thank you, Petra. And there was a lot of black paper in it, so I thought I'm going to make a project and I'll call it All Things Blackish. So I made this box, and I made 21 little books, and they had to be 10 by 10 centimeter, and they had to have all a different binding. So this is what I made. These two didn't, they are disqualified because they don't have the right size, but they are very cute, so I'm going to show you later. This is the box. I ran out of black paper, so I used my own paper with Vivaldi and some polka dots. And I'm showing you the books one by one. This is the first bind. It's called Arrows, and it is a Keith Smith bind. And the project was All Things Blackish, so this is all grey and white. I think now grey and white belong to All Things Blackish as well. This is also a Keith Smith binding. It's called Diamonds. I don't know why, because to me it's a cross stitch, but okay. This is the inside. I worked away the knots and the sewing of the button. I like this paper very much. There were several colors of this paper. Diamonds. This is a little bookmark. This is a Centipede Binding, also by Keith Smith. I'm not sure about the colors, so maybe I'm going to change the little caterpillar or the little centipede and using other colors. It's a long stitch and the centipede is involved in the binding. And on the inside it looks like this. So you think, ooh, complicated, but it's just this. And a bit complicated as well. The next is an invisible spine binding. I'm not very fond of bindings that go over the spine because it's a bit vulnerable, and if your thread is getting less strong, then your whole book is gone. But this one is very nice. I used waxed thread, so that's a bit stronger. This is the inside. This is the book. Okay, this is a very small one. A heart binding, step binding with hearts. This is one of the simplest. And with step bindings you have the front and the back, and they have to be exactly the same. And if you're doing it well, you don't see where I started and where I ended. Do you see it, Sarah? No. Mission succeeded. Very small book. This is a pamphlet stitch, 5 holes pamphlet stitch. And I did a little embroidery, of course, because I love embroidery. And I have a method. So you hide the embroidery and you can't see anything of the embroidery anymore. And this is a bind where the sections are sewed in one by one. Little Japanese girl. It was meant for Japanese step binding, but it was too big, so I did it like this. Here's another Keith Smith. It's called The Rope. I don't know why, because it's more barbed wire to me. And here's the inside. These are all in Keith Smith books of 3 section bindings. And if you have 3 sections, you have to make room for the bind. Otherwise it's too close together, the stitching. So you have to have big sections. Now here's the hard binding. There's a little hard button. This is a very big one. 13 sections. It's not very complicated, but it's a bit tricky because you have to sew around the heart, and then you have to sew the heart itself. And you have to have a lot of sections because otherwise the heart doesn't come forward. The next is crossed structure binding. I'm putting it like this. Oh, cat's coming in. Fien, katten. This is the front, and this is the back. I'm sewing the book, the text block, on the 2 legs. These are here. And then, after you do that, you have to fold the 3 legs over it. And that's the crossed structure. You can do it with all kinds of colors. Here is another keyless binding, 3 sections. Also going over the spine. Also not a very favorite of mine, but okay. This is called the spine braid, because this is a braid. Zie je dat op het filmpje? Mm-hmm. And I have a lovely button here, mother of the pearl. And I made a lovely inside. Because I like the paper so much, and I thought the paper wasn't very coming forward in the front and the back. Next we have a medallion book. I inserted the medallion in this paper, and it's bound on ribbons. And one of the ribbons is coming out of the book. And again, just like with the embroidery, you don't see anything about the medallion on the inside. Nou, doe het even een beetje zo. Hoepla. Next is this is also a double pamphlet stitch, and these are envelopes. So I made the envelopes myself because I had to adjust the size to 10 by 10. This is the concertina, the black pieces you see, because I had to bind it on a concertina. The envelopes are sewed in the valley folds. Yeah, ik zeg het goed. So these are all little envelopes, and you can put flat things in it. Lovely paper. What have we here? Here we have the step binding. No, wat heet het ook alweer? Packed, the packed binding. So you make a long stitch and you pack it. Each stitch is packed 20 times. Little color. This suited the purple one on the back, because it was going to be very black if I didn't. This one is called, very long name, the Australian piano reverse. Nee, the Australian reversed piano hinge binding. It's an accordion. You make slots in the sections, and you pull the accordion through the slots, and you anchor it with an anchor piece. You can remove the anchor piece, but I'm not going to do that because I don't know if I can put them back together. And it lies open very flat. And you can remove the sections and put something else in it. So it's a very nice binding. Lijkt net of ik hier een boekje mis. Oké. Vloep. Off we go. This is a very simple binding. It's a long stitch. And I did a little a piece of thread around the stitches. And then you get these flippertjes. This is nice paper. Looks a bit like embroidery. And this as well. So here, oh, I like this paper so very much. This is also bound on ribbons, and the middle ribbon is coming out of the book. French link stitch. Book block is clean cut, like the other one, this one. And here we have the good old secret Belgian binding. Also with very beautiful paper. And on the inside it looks like this. And I've heard the binding is called secret because you can't see how the signatures are sewed in on the stitches on the back. But I'm not sure about that. Sometimes I'm just telling things. They know.
We know.
This is also a weaving bind. It's called a sing weave. It's a bit more difficult than the other one I showed you.
Oh.
The strips are weaved by through the book and are secured with locking pieces. This is a locking piece, the grey one, and the black one is a locking piece. So they come back each time grey, and this is really an artist book. It was meant by as a conceptual book. So an artist wrote a poem and the weaving was invented for that poem. This is also a variation of a long stitch. Quite simple. You start here and then the stitches turn out like this. It's a bit... I did do this on purpose, in case you think, mistake. No, I did it on purpose. Because I thought it suited the stitching. Here we have the Schrikkeli in a case. Fien, your favorite. Oscar Isaac. I did all sorts of postcards, black and white, of movies and theaters and dances I went to because I go to movies all the time. Here, Oscar Isaac as well. Last but not least, with a little piece of embroidery and the cross-stitch binding. And you don't see anything of the embroidery on the inside because of my very clever method. And here comes the disqualified ones. I made an extendable box. I made this and it was too high. But it was too cute to not include it in the project, so I thought, just putting a box on it. This is one side, one layer. And hoopla. Leuk hè?
Ja.
Schattig. And here it goes back in its box, in its extendable box. Do it like this. And the wings go like this. And it's closed. And here is the little thing, blackish. This is an origami box. And I made this as well. I didn't know. I wanted to make a little drawer here, but no. I already had too many books. So here are my little origami books, which I made an origami box for. Putting it back again. So this is my project. All things blackish. I liked it very much to make. And I loved all the papers. That's it.